can't work outside and I don't have picture. I don't have record. This corner here I have been cleaning so many times. Even against my will. The owner of that nightclub there. The owner for that nightclub used to undermine me, putting me under pressure and making me to clean up outside.
George.
If I didn't clean up outside, I was not allowed. I have been living tough difficulties that I managed to record this picture that I have in my cell phone of me cleaning up the streets against my will, just to satisfy the owner of nightclub Café de la Cruz. If you look into the picture, there is that house where there is a container where I used to work. I used to do my business inside, and unfortunately I was putting out from that container by the owner of the premises, because as I created the business, then that corner there was nothing. That corner house was just empty. I'm the one who came with a strategy and a plan, project of putting business there. Once I created the business there, the owner became jealous and waited for me to improve my business, even knowing that I was paying my rent on time and complete or full rent. But he was just jealous of my business in order to kick me out as he did and placed someone else doing business there. So I end up on the street as I show you in the previous picture. Now I'm recording this time to show you one of the pictures that I had on the street when I began to clean up the streets due from the Café de la Cruz owner not allowing me to do business in the street. Right in front of me there is a tree next to that white car where the other guy used to sell, but he was allowed to sell there without doing any cleaning, without subjecting himself with the dirty and be selling food, and I end up sick I myself from clean up on this corner street several times. In the days that there were rubbish strike in South Africa, more appropriate in Pretoria, and even not having rubbish strike, I'm the one used to clean up daylight and at night. If I haven't done so, I wasn't allowed to sell by the corner. And there was a time that I was removed from this corner where I have been selling from 2007 times before. Up to that point, the owner of Café de la Cruz removed me from the corner and didn't allow me to sell anywhere here on the street because of the fact that I'm foreigner, and he was in favor of the guy who sells opposite me, who is South African. He didn't allow me because I'm a foreigner and a refugee in South Africa. I had approached the owner of Café de la Cruz the first time. I was crying. I explained to him that I used to sleep by the bridge. I was homeless, and due from selling here on the corner is how I managed to be out from the streets. And I have a child who is studying at Oost, right in this road, by the end of this road, Gerald Modric. and I have to sustain that child and pay school fees. The owner of Café de la Cruz, he didn't want to know nothing about that. He sent more than 10 security guards from his nightclub to beat me up, and I was hopeless. Fortunately, I haven't been beat up, but I was scared from them and I couldn't come to the corner. And last time when I saw him, I all negotiate to get to know what he wanted me to do instead. And he sent me to be cleaning up the streets. If I didn't clean up the street, I wasn't allowed to sell. Everyone passing by, as you see, people there are passing by, see me. I will show you some other pictures again. My cell phone is not in proper condition, but I have all these recorded. My cell phone have virus, and I won't manage to go through the pictures by setting it time after time. Just a minute, please. And be going sleeping or selling on the street, have to clean up to sell on the street. I end up sick from dealing with the rubbish time after time. Very strong and heavy rubbish dumped by the neighbors of nightclub. All that street dumps rubbish there, and I'm the only one who have to be cleaning up for everyone. Even Café de la Cruz as well dumps rubbish there. House 20, nightclub, House 22, nightclub Change, and nightclub House 28 as well. They dump rubbish there. The other nightclub owners, they do not force me to clean up. Instead, even I did approach them to help me with this problem of clean up, but they couldn't do much. This is one of the pictures, but it's night. There is a lot of rubbish as well. Nightclub House 22, the owners are the one who came on my favor for me to be allowed to work there, but they couldn't manage to convince the nightclub Café de la Cruz owner. Previously, he was claiming that I was doing smoke, unwanted smoke in front of the gate, and what I realized is I wasn't the only one, and he didn't chase away the other South African. Even the other nightclubs, they were never against us. We were there favoring customers who could be drunk and in need of eating in late hours at night. We are the ones who used to help them with snacks that we used to sell, those chicken gizzards and Wors roll. This is the second picture of me cleaning up the street. All this rubbish alone I had to clean up. And you often use the excuse and the claim of smoke At the Change nightclub, they do make smoke. At the House 22, they do make smoke by Brian. And even that South African guy next to me is making smoke. But was just excuse for him, for the nightclub, the Lacus owner, not having me there. Those were the days that I was having problem at my face of not knowing what was gonna be of me, of my papers, and my situation with me and my son, and I haven't been able to be going to do business again. If you see this picture, even the face doesn't show properly. If you see, this is the opposite guy selling. This day that he is standing there selling, I was busy cleaning up. I was busy cleaning up the street as he was selling right by the corner in the opposite side. And he haven't been sent to clean up the street. I'm the one who was cleaning up the street alone. Sorry for the dark condition because I had to switch off the light. Sorry, the room light in order to be getting the clear pictures from the camera phone. I have suffered. After cleanup, I wasn't even able to eat, even after bathing and wash my hands, me having Panadol. I wasn't able to eat. I found myself very tired, my lungs paining, and this unable to breathe due from this inhalation of all this rubbish smell. And after cleanup, this is the condition that the place became. You see, it's clean. This plastic, yellow plastic here, is where I brought the gloves, and the broom is just there on the floor. Gloves that I was clean, I was using, wearing to clean up the place. It haven't been easy. It was very difficult. For someone who already doesn't have a sense of belonging, doesn't have protection, who I was going to approach. Police, I was having no papers. I have no papers to approach a police, to go to a police station and explain such situation. I have no protection by lawyers for human rights. I have no one to protect me. So I couldn't do nothing. The only thing was to suffer in order to survive, to be able to sell, to have how to feed myself and my son, and to pay the rent and go and pay school fees for my son, buying him a medication, as we are not allowed to go to hospital. We are not allowed to go to hospital. When we go to hospital, we are sent back home by the fact that we have no by the fact that we don't have documentation to stay in South Africa. This is what the hospital have been claiming, and there was nothing we could do. I went through this situation again and again, and right now I sit on the light. I have been going through this situation time after time of cleaning up on the streets to favor someone who just decide to mistreat myself on this way. So unfortunately, how South African citizens they treat a foreigner on my case. This is the treatment that I have been given. Sleeping for selling on the street to sustain myself and my son. I had to subject myself to sweep the streets, not once, various times that I have been sweeping in the street. And that respect, that dignity, that sense of human is so is lost in such a way. Where is the power? Where is the energy? Where is the capacity of stand on my own and protect myself when I have no dignity? Who decides to do whatever just dies it on me? And this gentleman, he drives expensive cars, latest cars. He have his own nightclub, he have his family, he have his friends. And I have nothing of that. And I never been jealous of him. I never disrespected him. And I even didn't know him. I became to know him by the day that he sent the security guards against me. And that was the time that I had to go and see him. And I got to know his face. I really didn't know the owner of nightclub, because it's not mine to be know everyone. I'm not interested to cause whatever prejudice to anyone. I'm not a jealous person, and I don't look for troubles, even knowing that problems always are there in human society, but it's not just this way. Against me have been just too much, and I have been hopeless. I could may leave that and to have my dignity back. And what is my dignity back without being able to sustain myself? There is no job opportunity in South Africa. Even I have no documentation. How I would sustain myself and my son, pay rent and school fees, and may help me with the gym so that I can may go through this situation with my immune system and my emotional and psychological problems quite balanced, which I'm dealing with very extreme difficulties. It's not easy. And all this happened. That's why sometimes for me to call myself with a proper definition, it's not easy. I know my name. I know I'm breathing, but really, if I'm a human being, that is what I have to know, because human beings are not treated this way. Due from a documentation, every sort of thing happens with me. Due from being mistreated at the Home Affairs, I came with the truth, and I was called a liar. I was forced to change, because my son now was sick and was in need of treatment. Without documentation, how I was going to be able to take my son to hospital, to put my son at school, to deal with all these issues. Home Affairs doesn't know what a person or a child goes through. Lawyers from human rights, they don't know. United Nations doesn't know what a family goes through when a family have no documentation. And even on my case, after some time, I was given a status, refugee status back. They don't know how much a person suffers when his own child is not accepted at the hospital, is not allowed to go to school. From 2009, if I didn't change it, my son is date of birth, and if I didn't change the story to Home Affairs, to Lawyers for Human Rights, and to United Nations, and the birth of date of my son, to go to creche and to go to school in 2009, what was going to be of my son? Well, the Lawyers for Human Rights, they only convinced my nature to convince the school that the child have to be at the school afterwards. Well, I already was having my son at school, and he was thrown out from school because the law is human right in the United Nations. Home Affairs, they haven't been care about our situation. My son was thrown out from school. Later on is when lawyers for human rights, they came up with a letter, and I have right now I'm going to organize all the letters, all the papers that I have to organize to give you the opportunity to see it. All at last is when they come up with this. It's not easy. At last is when lawyers for human rights, they came up with a letter that they took even my son to school. By that time, they removed my son out from me. They gave my son to a stranger to look after my son. And I was just in a period of 3 or 4 months that my son was out from me. It's like, was his entire life out from me. What my son went through, he lost himself, and still he's unable to recover himself as is a child. The place is clean, and what I have to show you is the other letters from Lawyers for Human Rights, and Home Affairs, voluntary repatriation, the last letter, the newspaper that dates this, father and a son without a country. I and my son, DNA tests, which is done. I'm just recording quick because I have not much space when I put my son into school. Namibian prison where I was, where I wrote the letter, and Mr. T's letter. So, through Miss Nyaraz, this is when I put my son at the crash. I have all those letters here, and I'm at risk by now. Yes, this is why Justin being brought out from Shubat Park, and this is the newspaper date. So this is the situation that Justin went through. He lost his eye at Shubat Park. Will I also lose my life? Because this man that I just put in the record, he does have gun, and it's not just about him. It's about Mr. T, Home Affairs, Lawyers for Human Rights, United Nations, my country itself, the world that I'm facing by now, and I don't know what's gonna be my end. And please, there was no another way that I could let you know the truth, and the truth needs to be told. I couldn't lie to you. I didn't have how to let you know the things that happened, my story, and this is the way that I can come to you and let you know, because I told the truth to Home Affairs. Even I was brought to Home Affairs from by the officers from the border when I crossed with my son, and they told the truth about me Once I was at Home Affairs. After time, the store changed. They didn't accept to solve a situation. I changed my story as well, and this is what happened. Even changing a story of myself and my son didn't help anyway, and we're still facing these days. And where we are living in this house, the owner of the property, we're paying a rent for 2 years without failing. We are paying full payment every month, and he just claimed that he needs his space, needs us to destroy the place within 4 months. Right, this year by December 2014, we have to leave the space and get another place to stay. We have nowhere to stay unless going to find a way to rent a now with nowhere to go, and I'm gonna call lawyers, human rights, or police. Talking about the police, how could I trust the police in South Africa or the government itself? I was attacked by a South African man, xenophobic. He did attack me, he beated me with a knife right on top of my hair and cut one of my dreadlocks. Like the dreadlock protected, but the police was right in front with a bakkie, and I explained the situation. The man walked away and the police didn't get the man. Until now I have the case. I didn't open the case because I have no papers, and this is the details.